Hi guys, my name is Rachel and today I am here to do a book unhaul. This is all the books that I'm getting rid of. I'm doing a little bit of a clear out of my bookshelves because I have absolutely no room left on my bookshelves and I want to buy more books, and there are just some books that have been sitting on my shelves for a while that I've either read and just haven't liked, or books that I haven't read but I just don't think I'm ever going to. So I have 24 books that I will be giving to charity. So without further ado, let's get into the 24 books that I'm going to be unhauling this month. Just a very quick disclaimer, if any of your favourite books are on this list, it's not a personal attack on you or your opinions. It just means that the books weren't for me, or I just have no interest in reading them anymore. I don't think they're really to my taste, so it is no attack on you. We are all allowed to have different opinions, so please do not be offended if any of your favourite books are on this list. The first two books that I'm going to be unhauling is a duology, and that is 3 Dark Crowns and 1 Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. I read 3 Dark Crowns a few years ago and it just really wasn't for me. I just really didn't enjoy it, so I have no plans on ever getting to the second book. I'm pretty sure this is just a duology. I don't think there's any continuation after this book. I could be wrong about that. I just don't have any interest in continuing with this series. This book just wasn't for me. It is about 3 sisters who all have different powers and basically they're all fighting for the throne. I thought the concept was really good, but the execution just wasn't great in my opinion. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the characters. There was actually one part in this book that I remember so vividly because I just burst out laughing. So basically one of the sisters, Catherine, is a poisoner, which means she is resistant to the deadliest of snake bites, and I just remember one line in this book had me laughing so much. It said something about Catherine like on the ground slithering like a snake, and just that image in my head just had me in tears of laughter. I just could not stop laughing at that line. I remember it so vividly. That's like the main thing I remember from this book. I don't remember anything else. It was just such a funny image in my head, just such a funny line. I just really wasn't into this book. I know it was a very popular series on BookTube a few years ago, but it just wasn't for me and I'm never going to read this. They're just sitting on my shelves taking up space, so I just think that someone else might enjoy them more than I did, so these 2 books will be going to charity. The next book I plan to unhaul this month is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. This is kind of a sequel to Wizard of Oz. It's not a retelling of Wizard of Oz, it actually takes place after as far as I know. So this follows Amy, who ends up in Oz. She has been told to take the Tin Man's heart, the Scarecrow's brain, and the Lion's courage, as well as killing Dorothy. I've actually not read this book, it's just been sitting on my shelf for years. I quite like Wizard of Oz as a story, and I actually think the concept of this does sound very interesting, but I just don't think I'm ever going to pick it up. For whatever reason, I just don't have the drive. Every time I look at it on my shelves, I just never have any desire to read it, and I just think that it's taking up space. I just don't think I'm ever going to actually get to it. This could be a good book, I'm not saying that it isn't. I just don't think it's in my taste at the moment. I'm just not really feeling it, so I just feel like someone else would enjoy it more than I will, so I will also be giving this book to charity. The next book I am unhauling is After You by Jojo Moyes. This is the sequel to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, which is a very, very well-known book. It actually has a movie sticker on this cover. I enjoyed reading Me Before You at the time when I read it a few years ago, but actually the more I think about it, the more I think it's actually very harmful, and I've actually done a bit of research and read some articles about it, and it has been quite harmful to the disabled community, and for that reason my opinion has changed on Me Before You, and I just know I'm never going to get to this book. I don't have any interest. I don't really care about it. I don't really care about Lou Clark and what happens in her life anymore. I just don't care. I think this is a romance as well, which means that Lou obviously must have moved on from her love interest in the first book, so I don't know why that would be appealing to people if they really did love the first book. I don't know. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I just know I'm never going to read it. It's just taking up room. I'm not interested anymore. The next 3 books I am unhauling is The Winner's Curse Trilogy by Marie Rudkowski. I read the first book so long ago, I don't honestly remember a single thing about it, but I do remember just not being that into it. I just didn't really care for the characters. I didn't really care for the plot. I honestly can't remember any details from this book at all. I feel like my mind has just erased it from my memory, which is not a good sign. I just know I'm never going to finish the trilogy. I don't even have any interest in reading the second book. I know this is a well-loved series on BookTube, or it was a few years ago at least, but I just wasn't into the first book. I'm struggling to hold these books up, by the way. Sorry if this looks really awkward. I'm sure it's great. I know a lot of people loved it. I just didn't. It wasn't my cup of tea, so I feel like someone else would enjoy this a lot more than I did. The next book I am unhauling is 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. This book is very, very well known, mainly because of the Netflix series, I feel. I read this so long ago, I don't even remember. I was so young. When I read it, I remember absolutely loving it. I remember being really, really into it, and I think I gave it a high rating on Goodreads at the time. It was a very, very early read for me, but the more I think about it, the more I just feel like if I reread it now, I think I'd hate it, or at least just not like it as much as I did back then. I just feel like there are a lot of issues with this book. I don't think I'd enjoy it now if I read it again, and I haven't seen the Netflix TV series, but I heard it's very, very over the top and controversial and just completely harmful. I'm just never going to watch the Netflix series, and I'm also never going to reread this book, so this one is going to charity as well. The next book I am unhauling is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I feel like with this book it's either a love or hate. Everyone either loves it or hates it. There's just no in between. I unfortunately was one of the ones that hated it. I really just did not like this book. It's a very short book, thank God, because I honestly could not have read any more of it. I'm sorry to those who loved it, but it just was not for me. I hated the writing, I hated the characters, I hated the plot twist at the end. I didn't think it was a very interesting plot twist. It just was not for me. I know I'm never going to read this book again. I just hated it. So that is why I am unhauling it. The next book I am unhauling is The Poison Throne by Celine Kiernan. It is the first book in the Moorhawk trilogy. I have not read this one. I haven't heard a single person talk about it, and I think that's why I just haven't picked it up. I feel like it's just been sitting on my shelves and I've never had any desire to read it. I just don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything about it. It could be great. I don't know. It could be amazing. I just have no desire to read it. I just have no drive to read it, and I just have so many books on my shelves that I do really want to read, and I just feel like I'm never going to get to this one, so I think it's just best to unhaul it. The next 5 books I have to show you are the first 5 books in the Zom-b series by Darren Shan. Good luck to me holding these books up. Now, Darren Shan is one of my favourite authors of all time. While I haven't read any of his books in a few years, he's still always considered one of my favourite authors. You obviously can't see it on camera, but at the very top shelf on this case, it is full of Darren Shan books. He takes up nearly an entire shelf, and he's at the very top because his books are very important to me. The Saga of Darren Shan, or the Cirque du Freak series, is one of my all-time favourite series. I've read it so many times, absolutely love it. I will never ever get sick of it. It's amazing. I also loved his Demonada series and a few of his other books, The Thin Executioner. I think he's an incredible writer. He's also Irish, which is also great, and I've met him like 3 times, and he is just the loveliest person. He's just so sweet, absolutely so talented. I actually read the first, I think 3 or 4 of these books. I don't even remember. I remember the first one quite vividly, but I don't really remember the rest that I have read. There's nothing wrong with these books per se. I just think they're not in my taste. I don't like zombies, like whether it's in movies, TV shows, books. I just don't like zombies. I just don't care for zombies. I've never seen The Walking Dead or anything like that. It's just not for me. Also, everyone who knows me in person knows I have a fear of clowns. I think they're terrifying, and one thing I do remember from this series is that there's a really scary clown in it, and that freaks me out. I don't like it. I can't do it. No. I did enjoy the first few books that I did read in this series, but I just don't feel any desire to keep reading it. It's just not for me. I just don't like zombies. So I feel like there are other people out there who will love Darren Shan as much as I do and will love this series more than myself. The next 2 books I am unhauling is The Kiss of Deception and The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson. I actually read the first book, The Kiss of Deception. I heard amazing things about it. I heard there was a very good plot twist. I heard the concept was great, and I did actually think the concept was really clever. Basically, this follows a 17-year-old girl called Leah who flees on her wedding day, and she bumps into 2 strangers. So basically the way it's written is that you're kind of trying to guess which stranger is which. So one of them is an assassin who is sent to kill her, and the other one is a prince. So you're trying to figure it out. It's kind of hard to describe how it's written. It is very clever, I have to say. I think the idea is very clever. I love the whole guessing thing, but I feel like while the concept was excellent, I just feel like the execution just wasn't great. I was a little disappointed. Also, I heard before I started this book that there was a really big plot twist, and I just remember being disappointed by that plot twist. I honestly don't even remember what the plot twist is. That's how much it stayed in my brain, apparently. I just remember being quite disappointed because I had such high expectations expectations going into this one, and so I've never picked the second book up and I never bought the third book, so I just feel like I'm never going to continue with this series, which is a shame because I have heard so many people love this series. I really wanted to love this. Maybe the second and third book are better, I don't know, but I just don't feel any drive to kind of continue. It is a shame. I feel like this might be a controversial series to get rid of, but who knows. I am disappointed, but what can I say? It's just not for me. Also, I'm very good at looking after my books. I'm very protective of my books, so I have no idea what happened here. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it looks like I spilled tea or something on the bottom and the corner, and I'm really sad about that. Even though I'm getting rid of it, I still feel guilty or something. I don't even remember doing that, so that's a shame, but hopefully the person who picks this up in the charity shop won't mind that too much. The next 3 books I am unhauling is the Half Bad Trilogy by Sally Green. I read the first book so long ago, I don't even remember what year it was. Honestly, it was just so long ago, and I just remember not really being into it. I couldn't even tell you what the plot is or the main character's name. I don't remember anything. I just remember not really enjoying this book, so I know I'm never going to finish the series. I never read the second or third book. Honestly, the reason I've kept these books for so long on my shelves is because I love the covers. It's not the same on the second and third book, but the first book has like half bad and white on the back and black on the front, so I think that's really cool. It doesn't have that on the second and third, unfortunately, so I feel like they're just sitting on my shelves, just looking pretty but not ever being read. I'm never going to get to these 2. I don't remember anything. I don't really care to reread to find out because I just remember not really being crazy about this book, so I just feel like it is time for them to go. The next 3 books I am unhauling is the Unbecoming of Mara Dyer trilogy by Michelle Hodkin. Again, I seem to have a thing where I read the first book in a trilogy and just never finish it. I read the first book of The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, wasn't crazy about it. Again, I loved the concept. I thought the concept was fantastic. Basically, this follows Mara Dyer, who wakes up in hospital with no memory of how she got there. So she finds out that her boyfriend and her 2 best friends are dead and she actually survived. So basically she tries to start off a new life, but she keeps seeing her dead friends everywhere and she starts seeing people's deaths before they happen. So it's a really interesting concept, but again, the execution just wasn't great in my opinion. This was a very well loved series on BookTube years ago. Everyone was talking about it, but I just never really got into it myself. I didn't understand the hype around Noah Shaw, who was the love interest in this book. Everyone was obsessed with him on BookTube and I just wasn't feeling it. I felt no connection with him whatsoever. Maybe he gets better in the second and third book, I don't know. I don't really plan to find out. It just wasn't for me, so I think they're better off leaving. The final book I am unhauling might be very controversial, but understandable. It is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I read this book so long ago, probably back in like 2012 or something like that. At the time, I absolutely loved it. I loved all of Rainbow Rowell's books. Now it is being adapted into a movie and there's a lot of talk about this book again, and I've seen so many paragraphs on Twitter about this book and I realized how racist it is, and reading some of the paragraphs have made me think like, how did I not see this? I mean, obviously I was just young and stupid apparently, because it is so blatantly obvious. It is just a very harmful book and my opinions have just completely changed on it now. I'm never going to reread it. No interest in the movie adaptation unless they kind of fix it. Maybe the movie adaptation can make it better, but I don't know. We'll see. And one thing that's very sad is that I don't think Rainbow Rowell has actually apologized for the racism in this book. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just haven't seen anything about her apologizing. So that's obviously very frustrating and very upsetting as well. So this book is just, it's sitting on my shelf. My opinions have completely changed on it now that my eyes have been opened. I actually feel guilty about not seeing the harmful parts in this book before, and now I am aware of it and my opinions have completely changed. I don't want to support this book. Don't even want to look at it on my shelves anymore. So I think this book has to go. And that is it for my book Unhaul. All these books will be given to charity. I always give everything to charity, clothes, books, anything I'm getting rid of I give to my nearest charity shop. So hopefully some other people will like these books that I'm unhauling more than I did. And again, if any of your favorite books were on this video, it's not a personal attack on you, it is just my personal opinion. So thank you so much for watching guys, I really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to me. Also leave me a comment and just say hello, I would really love that. Also you can leave me a comment if you think I shouldn't get rid of any of these books, or if you agree with me getting rid of these books, anything at all. I just love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much and I hope you have a lovely day. Slán live!